So if you bought an M2 or M2 Pro Mac Mini, but now you're drawn towards that shiny, newly redesigned M4 or M4 Pro Mac Mini, and you're wondering whether or not it might be a smart upgrade, I'm here to tell you everything new between these two devices, and maybe, just maybe, it'll help you justify your potential purchase. So, the biggest thing with the new Mac Mini is, of course, the redesign. It's over 2 inches smaller in both width and depth, and a ½ inch smaller in height compared to the previous model. It's just a small Apple TV, Mac Studio looking love child, but I gotta say, I really like this new look. It's also a lot lighter. This new machine will make for even more flexibility when mounting and desk placement options. Okay, so now let's get this quote-unquote controversial part out of the way. The power button is now on the bottom of the machine, and I understand just saying that out loud sounds absurd, but I recently posted on Twitter or X something about how I personally view this as kind of a non-issue because I assumed most people just never really turn their machines off, so there's no reason for you to go back and turn it on a daily basis. And most of you agreed, but I did have a few, and a lot more than I anticipated, saying how you do in fact turn off your machine every night. So I don't really know what to tell you. I guess this might be a little bit of a pain for you, but it's also so small and light that you can easily just kind of with one hand lift it up off the desk and turn it back on if you need to. I don't know, but I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below how you feel about this new placement for the power button. So on the front of the machine, we now have access to 2 USB-C ports. They're not Thunderbolt, they're just regular USB-C, but it's great to have that easy access connectivity on the front. And you also have your 3.5mm headphone jack that was moved from the back to the front there as well. Now the back has 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports. Unless you get the M4 Pro option, that will give you 3 Thunderbolt 5 ports, which is new. And that gives you 120 gigabits per second in terms of data transfer speeds. There's also a port for your power, HDMI 2.1, and that's just about it here for the new Mac Mini. The major difference is while you do have 5 total USB-C ports on the entire machine, the previous model, if you had the M2 Pro version, did have 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports. And so the new one now only has 3 Thunderbolt 5. So you are losing 1 Thunderbolt variant in exchange for that extra USB-C on the front. Might be a deal breaker for some of you out there depending on your setups, so I just wanted to give you that information. I'll also say that not having the flexibility for USB-A like we had in the previous generation, which I understand should be removed in favor of USB-C everything, but not all accessories do this quite yet. And so you'll have to have adapters on hand, and it's just maybe extra docks. It's just easier for connectivity to just maybe have 1 or 2 USB type A's available like we did on the previous generation. Now, before we get into the rest of this comparison, I'm going to let Dan wearing a different shirt tell you more about today's sponsor, ESR. My favorite thing about the new iPhones over the past few years, or really since it's been implemented, has been MagSafe and all of the cool MagSafe accessories that are out there. And ESR has a few new options for the new iPhone 16 lineup that are now Qi 2 enabled, and they are absolutely fantastic for all different types of charging scenarios. For those on the go, you have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery pack with a kickstand. That's great for viewing content in both portrait and landscape. Perfect for those charging but want to continue watching content on your phone or just need a place to dock your phone. This battery pack is ultra slim, only 15.5 millimeters thick, which is 38% slimmer than the competitors out there. And thanks to NTC sensors and an AI algorithm, there's constant temperature monitoring to keep the power bank below 99 degrees, which most batteries like this are actually hovering around 118 degrees. So we're going to be keeping things so much cooler in your pocket. The 15-watt MagSafe charging can also charge an iPhone 15 Pro to 84% in only 2 hours and 25 minutes, while a standard 7.5-watt power bank can take up to 3 hours just to get to 77%. There's also a new 3-in-1 stand for your desk or nightstand that can also charge at 15 watts, giving users a full charge in only 2 hours, and it's packed with Cryo Boost cooling to keep your phone cool while charging faster than the competition. And there's even fast charging for your Apple Watch, all at an affordable price. I also love that there's a spot for your AirPods here at the bottom. That's what makes it 3-in-1. And if you actually just want 2-in-1, you can remove the Apple Watch part of the charger if you don't think it's necessary for your setup. And last but not least, there's even a 15-watt MagSafe charger for your car that also has the same Cryo Boost technology because charging in my car is super hot, and so this will help you keep things Cool. So check out ESR's fantastic lineup of MagSafe charging accessories for your new iPhone by visiting the links in the description down below. Thanks ESR for sponsoring this video. All right, so in terms of performance and spec configuration, the new M4 and M4 Pro come standard with at least 16 gigabytes of RAM compared to the early entry-level model of the M2 that started with 8 gigs. So a nice RAM boost there for virtually no price increase, which is great. And if you wanted to max it out, the base M4 can go up to 32 gigs, and the M4 Pro can max out at 64 gigs. You now have a 10-core CPU and 10-core GPU for that base standard M4, while the M4 Pro comes with the options of 12 or 14 cores for CPU and 16 or 20 for the GPU. Now for storage, you get 256 gigs all the way up to 2 terabytes of SSD storage for the base model and 512 to 8 terabytes of storage for the M4 Pro. So overall, for performance, the M4 and M4 Pro chips offer substantial advancements with higher clock speeds, more efficient core architecture, and memory bandwidth improvements. The M4 Mac Mini brings noticeable gains in performance over the M2 models. The new chips also introduce hardware-accelerated ray tracing, support for AV1 decoding, and an updated GPU architecture, which are particularly beneficial for users in graphic design, video editing, or other GPU-intensive tasks. Now, if you pair that all with the LPDDR5X memory, these upgrades make the Mac Mini more competitive than ever, even nearing the capabilities of the Mac Studio for many professional workflows. However, the M2 Pro users who already have a higher spec configuration, you might not find the jump to the latest model as essential, especially if your needs are already being met by your current machine's power and capabilities. For these users, it might be worth waiting for an even more transformative update later down the line. What is clear though is I think the M4 and M4 Pro Mac Mini provide a noteworthy upgrade for users seeking a high-performance, compact, and cost-effective desktop Mac. The latest generation really does blur the line between Mac Mini and Mac Studio, not only in looks, but power and formidable specs in a much smaller footprint. I think it stands out as one of the best value options for desktop computing in Apple's lineup, making it a really good choice for a lot of you out there. So, if you have an M4 and you messed up and you didn't get the higher specs that you wanted, and you're thinking, maybe I'll just do that with this new one, I think you'll be really, really happy in actually doing that and making sure you build it up to what will last you for many years to come. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a higher end M2 Pro, and you get a higher end M4, you probably won't notice super major differences between the two in performance and power. But again, if you got that lower end configuration and you're looking to get a higher one, then I think you'll be really, really happy. And the M4 Pro might honestly be the best option for most people out there who are in that really intense, CPU, GPU, performance, power jobs like coding and, graphic editing, your content creator, photography, graphic design, just anything out there that's going to rely on a lot of performance power in your machine, but maybe not as much for a Mac Studio and you don't want to spend the money on something like that. I think the Mac Mini is a really, really good option. And so would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Which one are you looking at getting? Are you looking at getting an M4 or an M4 Pro? What do you like about it? Let me know down in those comments. This is Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.